Hello everyone, I'm starting this episode slightly differently. I apologise for lack of videos recently again, but I've been busy. First of all, I'd like to dedicate this video to my cousin Dan for his 21st birthday, although it may be out a little late. During the first stage, men and elves were both fighting together in an attempt to defeat Morgoth, who was a Valar. However, Morgoth was extremely powerful and the Valar refused to assist, as the elves had previously rebelled against the Valar and returned to Middle-earth. Finally, Eärendil and his wife Elwig, who both had mixed elf-human ancestry, used the power of Eärendil's star to infiltrate the Undying Lands. Eärendil, half-elven, begged for mercy on behalf of both races, and the Valar relented and helped defeat Morgoth. As a result of this, the Valar forgave the elves and requested their return to the Undying Lands, as well as creating an island lying halfway between Middle-earth and the Undying Lands for the Edain, also known as men, known as Numenor. Eärendil and Elwig were forbidden to return to Middle-earth. Instead, the Valar decided to count them as honorary elves. Eärendil's sons Elrond and Elros were given a choice: become elves, which meant that they must someday give up Middle-earth and sail to the Undying Lands, or remain mortal, with a lifespan several times that of ordinary Edain. Elrond cast his lot with the elves, whilst his brother Elros became the first king of Numenor. During the Second Age, men grew to resent the elves' immortality. The kings hated Elros' choice, which was irrevocable. Finally, Sauron informed the king that anyone who entered the Undying Lands would become immortal. The Valar were keeping them away lest they become more powerful than the gods. Persuaded by Sauron, the king of Numenor broke the Valar's ban and took a war fleet to the Undying Lands. The Valar were furious and sunk Numenor to the depths of the ocean, whilst the few remaining loyal Númenóreans sailed to Middle-earth. The leader of these Númenóreans was known as Elendil. Isildur, who had saved White Sapling from Numenor, and Anarion found Gondor in the south, where the ships had washed up, whilst Elendil became High King and ruled Arnor in the north. Isildur and Anarion both ruled over their separate cities known as Minas Arnor and Minas Ithil. During this time, Sauron had risen as Dark Lord and was battling with the elves. The Edain sought to help their friends and forged the last alliance in which both Elendil and Anarion were killed, and the elves' High King Gil-galad was slain. However, Sauron was also defeated. The elves no longer needed a king due to a massively reduced population, and Isildur was left to rule over two kingdoms. At the bottom of Mount Doom, Elrond sought to destroy the ring as he forbade danger. However, Isildur declared that it was a wergild for his brother and father. Elrond knew what it was like to lose a father and brother, respected this, and allowed Isildur to keep the ring. To his chagrin, Isildur soon realised that Elrond was right about the ring. On the way back to his father's kingdom in the north, Isildur headed towards Rivendell to seek advice. En route, Isildur was ambushed and killed. He would forever be remembered as a hero. During the Third Age, before Isildur's death, he entrusted the throne of Gondor to his nephew Meneldil, whilst Isildur's young son Valandil, who was sheltered in Rivendell during the war, became king of Arnor. For over 1,000 years the two kingdoms prospered. However, soon enough the north became under assault by the Witch King, whilst the south was beset by various barbarian invasions, as well as a plague. Sauron had not yet openly returned, but his minions, including orcs and trolls, reappeared and had begun to divide across Middle-earth, conquering his old enemies. To make matters worse, most men no longer trusted the elves, who by this time barely had enough folk left to defend their remaining strongholds. In 1944, during the Third Age, King Onodher of Gondor and his sons were slain. King Arvedui of Arnor, who had married Onodher's daughter, applied to Gondor for the crown, as Isildur's heir and father of Onodher's grandson, who would thus be heir to both realms. However, the Council of Gondor refused, stating that the crown royalty of Gondor belonged solely to the heirs of Meneldil, son of Anarion, to whom Isildur relinquished this realm. In Gondor, this heritage is reckoned through the sons only, and we have not heard that the law is otherwise in Arnor. Instead, the throne was granted to a distant cousin of the king, who was previously a popular and successful Gondorian captain. Shortly after, King Arvedui himself was killed and the last remnants of Arnor destroyed. No more than a generation later, the King of Gondor accepted a challenge from the Witch King at Minas Ithil, now known as Minas Morgul, and was under Sauron's control. Before he left, he entrusted the rule of Gondor to his steward until he returned. Needless to say, the king was defeated, and nowhere with a strong enough claim could be found. Therefore, the stewards became the rulers of Gondor. Although Arda was slain and his kingdoms defeated, his son Aranarth had survived. The last remaining men of Arnor became the Dunedain, who secretly fought Sauron's servants with assistance from the elves. As a result of this, Elrond continued to shelter and tutor the descendants of his brother Elros, the last of whom was Aragorn. Elrond was able to prove that Aragorn was an heir of Arda, as he remained an ally to the heirs of Isildur during the centuries of obscurity. But this didn't mean that Aragorn could simply claim the throne of Gondor. Upon hearing the news of Aragorn's claim to the throne, Denethor refused. In his eyes, Gandalf had been using Theoden as a puppet and believed he was trying to use Aragorn to control Gondor. As well as this, Denethor knew that Aragorn would someday claim the throne and has spent his entire life defending the walls of Minas Tirith from Mordor, and was therefore not going to allow Aragorn to take control in the final hours. Shortly after, Faramir had been brought back to the city dying. Denethor did not agree with Faramir's decision to allow Frodo to pass with the ring into Mordor. As well as this, Denethor looked into the Palantir and saw that Sauron's victory was inevitable. He decided that he and his dying son would be burnt alive, but Faramir made a quick recovery due to a elven remedy, whilst lying on the burning wick. Faramir was able to escape untouched, but Denethor had already caught a light. Upon seeing his son's miraculous recovery, he leapt from the wick to escape the flames. Faramir became steward, and after the defeat of Sauron, his first act was to invite Aragorn to claim the throne of Gondor. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than usual, because it's a few words longer than normal. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know. That's it. See you later.